He watches Mbappe go crazy. He watches Haaland go crazy. And he says, young men, hold my beer. Let me show you why they call me the king around here.
Messi flying forward. Lionel Messi! Deflection high from range. Big deflection. That's 2 for Messi.
For 20 years, there has been a strange ritual in football. Every time Lionel Messi does something impossible, a chorus of voices shows up right behind him to explain why it doesn't count. He won everything at Barcelona, but it was one club, one system, easy. He struggled at international level for a decade. Proof, they said, that he wasn't a true great. He went to Major League Soccer at 36? Surely that was the retirement tour. And every single time, Messi has done the same thing. He hasn't argued, he hasn't posted a clapback, he's just shown up the next week and made the doubt look ridiculous. This is the story of how that pattern played out. From a small kid in Rosario who didn't grow on schedule, to a trophy cabinet that has nothing left to prove, to a December night in Florida where he finally closed the one gap left on his American resume. Before there was a debate about the greatest player ever, there was just a problem nobody wanted to pay for. A brilliant 10-year-old in Argentina who wasn't producing enough growth hormone to keep growing. His local club couldn't fund the treatment. Barcelona could, and the story goes that the academy director, with no contract paper on hand, wrote the agreement on a napkin just to make sure he didn't get away. That napkin ended up being one of the great bargains in sports history. By his late teens, Messi was already breaking into a Barcelona first team stacked with established stars. He didn't ease in quietly. He was scoring outrageous solo goals, reminiscent of Maradona, before he was old enough to legally drink in most of Europe. But the truly absurd part of his career didn't start until Pep Guardiola took over in 2008 and built an entire system that bent itself around one player. What followed was close to a decade of sustained dominance that football hadn't really seen before. 10 La Liga titles, 4 Champions Leagues, a treble in 2009, a treble again in 2015, a Ballon d'Or streak that started to feel less like an award and more like a formality. Somewhere in the middle of it, Barcelona stopped being a great club that wins sometimes and became the standard every other team in Europe was measured against. The criticism that followed, that he only succeeded because of the system around him, never quite held up. Systems get dismantled. Coaches leave, teammates retire, tactics evolve. What didn't change year after year was the guy putting up 40, 50, 60 goals a season, regardless of who was coaching or who was lined up beside him.
Messi will always remind you that whilst I'm still playing the sport, whilst I'm still healthy, whilst I'm still kicking about, and whilst I'm still on the pitch, and no matter who's on the pitch with me, I'm still the best player, fam.
By the final years of that Barcelona era, the talent around him had actually thinned out, and he simply carried more of the weight himself. What a lot of fans forget is just how badly things fell apart behind the scenes near the end. Barcelona's boardroom spent years making expensive, poorly fitting transfers, while the club's debt quietly ballooned past €1 billion. By 2020, Messi had reportedly had enough and tried to leave on a free transfer through a contractual exit clause, only to be told he'd missed his window. Rather than drag his childhood club through a courtroom fight, he stayed another year. It didn't matter. By the summer of 2021, Barcelona's finances were in such bad shape that Spanish League salary rules wouldn't allow them to register his contract at any price, even after he agreed to take a major pay cut. The club that had built an entire identity around him for 2 decades simply could not afford him anymore. The exit press conference, with Messi in tears, wasn't him leaving on his terms. It was a financial inevitability dressed up as a goodbye.
Man right here, Lionel Messi, today in the Camp Nou Stadium in one of the conference rooms, announced his exit in a presser, and as you can imagine, it very emotional. 21 years with the club, the greatest, every record that an individual owns in Barcelona has his name on it, and it was quite an emotional moment for Lionel Messi.
It remains one of the strangest endings in modern sports. Arguably the greatest player to ever wear a shirt, forced out not by age or decline, but by a spreadsheet. Paris Saint-Germain looked, on paper, unstoppable the moment Messi arrived, joining a forward line that already had Kylian Mbappe and Neymar. In practice, it never quite clicked the way the marketing suggested. Messi's first season in Ligue 1 was modest by his standards, disrupted by injuries, and ended with another painful Champions League exit, this time against Real Madrid. The Parisian crowd, notoriously hard to please, didn't make the adjustment any easier. There were nights he was booed at his own home stadium, an experience that would have been unthinkable at Barcelona. His second season told a different story. 16 goals, 16 assists, and a second straight League One title, with one of those championships sealed directly off his own free kick. It wasn't the storybook ending PSG had hoped for when they signed him, but it was still a winning one. Whatever PSG was as a chapter, unsuccessful isn't the right word for it. It just wasn't home. And reportedly, Saudi Arabia came in with an offer that dwarfed everything else on the table. Money that would have made him the highest paid athlete on the planet by a wide margin. He turned it down.
Guess what? A club in Saudi Arabia are interested in him as well. Now, there's Al Nassr, who are from Riyadh, the most successful club in recent times in Saudi Arabia. They, of course, have signed Cristiano Ronaldo. And Al Hilal, their Riyadh rivals, who were also interested in signing Ronaldo but missed out on him, and now having a little look around, seeing if it would be possible to sign Lionel Messi.
If Barcelona was where Messi built his case, Argentina is where, for the longest time, people tried to take it away from him. For over a decade, the script was painfully repetitive. A final loss to Germany in the 2014 World Cup, a final loss to Chile in the 2015 Copa America, another final loss to Chile in 2016. That one immediately followed by Messi announcing his retirement from the national team altogether, visibly shattered after missing a penalty in the shootout. The criticism at home was brutal. He couldn't lead. He wasn't Maradona. He disappeared in the biggest moments. He came back, and then 2018 happened. A chaotic, disorganized World Cup exit that made it feel, to a lot of people, like the international story was simply over. The window had closed. Instead, something shifted. A new coaching staff, a more settled squad, and in 2021, Messi finally lifted his first major trophy with the senior national team, the Copa America, won on Brazilian soil, with Messi as both top scorer and the tournament's best player.
Por este momento, porque teníamos un objetivo, muchachos, teníamos un objetivo y estamos un pasito a conseguirlo, a un pasito, y sabe que lo mejor de todo, que depende de nosotros ganar esta copa, así que por eso ahora vamos a salir, vamos a levantar esa copa y lo vamos a llevar para Argentina para disfrutar con nuestra familia, nuestros amigos, la gente que bancó siempre argentino. Lo último, con esto termino. No existe la casualidad, muchachos.
People who had spent years saying he didn't have it suddenly had to find a new argument. They didn't get much time to find one. In 2022, Argentina won the Finalissima against the reigning European champions. And then came Qatar, Messi's fifth and presumably final World Cup, played at an age when most elite forwards have already started to fade. He didn't fade. He produced arguably the best individual World Cup campaign of the modern era. Decisive performances throughout the knockout stage, 2 goals in the final itself, and the calm to convert his shootout penalty after having missed in a final once before. Argentina lifted their first World Cup since 1986. It's the kind of ending that would let most players retire from international duty satisfied. Messi added another Copa America title in 2024 to back continental championships either side of the World Cup, just to make sure the point was unmistakable. So here's the actual puzzle. Why would the reigning World Cup winner and Ballon d'Or holder, at the peak of his commercial value and still performing at an elite level, choose Major League Soccer over a European Super Club turn or a 9-figure Saudi contract? The honest answer is that Inter Miami offered something none of those options did: ownership equity in the club itself, a stake in Apple's broadcast revenue, a major shoe brand partnership built around his name, and maybe just as important after a decade of relentless pressure in Europe and South America, a calmer life for his family in a city he already considered home. David Beckham, Miami's co-owner, had reportedly been quietly pursuing this siding since around 2020, long before the move became realistic. It wasn't a retirement plan. It was a business and lifestyle decision, with the football expectation baked in that he'd still be the best player on the pitch most nights. He was right.
The early returns were instant theater. His competitive debut for the club produced a stoppage-time free kick winner, the kind of moment that made it look like he'd been scripted into the league. A wave of highlight reel performances followed through that first summer, and Inter Miami, a team that had never won a trophy in its history and was sitting near the bottom of the table when he signed, won the inaugural Leagues Cup before the season was even finished. But the next 2 years were a more honest test of whether this was a sustainable project or just a marketing spectacle. Despite winning that first trophy, Miami missed the playoffs entirely in 2023. In 2024, they won the Supporters' Shield for the best regular season record in the league, and then were eliminated early in the playoffs anyway, a result that reignited exactly the kind of criticism Miami had hoped a Messi signing would silence for good. 2025 was the season that actually answered the question. It didn't start that way. Miami was knocked out, and questions about the club's ceiling resurfaced. Their new head coach, Javier Mascherano, a former teammate of Messi's from both Barcelona and the national team, with no prior senior coaching experience, was operating under enormous scrutiny.
Slowly, it came together. Miami became the only MLS club to escape the group stage of the FIFA Club World Cup that summer. Messi closed the regular season with 29 goals and 19 assists, claiming the league's Golden Boot. And in the playoffs, he was simply on another level, setting a new single postseason record for goal contributions on the way to the final. On December 6, 2025, at Chase Stadium, Inter Miami beat Vancouver Whitecaps 3-1 to win their first ever MLS Cup. Messi set up 2 of the 3 goals. It was also the perfect farewell. Longtime teammates Jordi Alba and Sergio Busquets, both retiring at the end of that season, walked away as champions in their final match. Messi was named MLS Cup MVP and days later picked up his second consecutive league MVP award, the first player in MLS history to do that back-to-back. It took 3 seasons, a coaching gamble, and a roster overhaul, but the Miami project had finally produced the one trophy it was missing. Run the timeline back, and the pattern is almost comedic at this point. Too small to make it as a kid, became the best player of a generation. Couldn't win with Argentina, became a World Cup champion. Went to America to relax, built a club from nothing into an MLS champion within 3 years. None of that happens by accident, and none of it happens to someone who needed the doubt to be motivated. The doubt was just background noise. The trophies were always going to come either way.
If you want the deep dive on any single chapter of this, the Barcelona years, the Argentina heartbreak era, or the full Miami rebuild, let us know in the comments and we'll go deeper next time.